I added containers to my garden about 10 years ago. My back asked me to. Now half my perennials live in pots, and half of those are doing better than the bed versions ever did. Containers are not the beginner's option. They are the gardener who has learned something option. No bending, no tilling, no digging out an invasive perennial a year too late. You move the pot to follow the light. You roll it across the patio on a wheeled tray. You replace the soil in 5 minutes when it tires. The catch: most perennials do not actually thrive in containers. Most root bound out, freeze out, or quit blooming after year 2. The 10 I am about to show you, these are the ones that do not quit. Plant them in April, water them through July, walk away. Number 1 is the perennial you have seen in every commercial landscape in America. There is a very specific reason. Number 10, Sedum Autumn Joy is the classic upright stone crop your grandmother grew along the front walk. 2-foot mound of fleshy blue-green leaves all summer, and that is the part most catalogs underplay. The flowers are a bonus. The foliage alone is a 4-month container plant before anything else happens. Then, in August, broccoli-shaped flower heads appear pale pink. By September, they are deep rose. By October, they are rust bronze. By November, they are dried bronze that holds through winter, feeds finches, catches frost, looks like sculpture from across the yard. Drought-proof, heat-proof, pest-proof, loves a clay pot that gets dry between waterings. That is exactly the container condition that kills most other perennials. Autumn Joy eats it for breakfast. Plant 1 in a 14-inch pot in April. Done. Number 9, Dianthus Fire Witch, the cheddar pink, 6 inches tall, blue-silver foliage that holds through winter, and magenta-pink flowers in May that smell exactly like cloves. This plant was a Perennial Plant Association Plant of the Year, a heritage award that signals decades of garden performance. Container behavior is what matters here. Fire Witch mat forms across the soil surface and spills over the rim of the pot. By year 2, it cascades over the side like a waterfall of silver. The foliage stays attractive, even when not in flower. 6 months of texture from one little plant. Shear it back to 2 inches after the May bloom. You get a second wave in late summer. Total annual maintenance, 15 minutes. Bonus, the cloves smell carries on a warm afternoon. Plant it where you sit. Number 8, Heuchera Americana, the plain native species, not the fancy hybrids. If you saw my regret video, berry smoothie, caramel marmalade, those are the ones that frost heave and die. Heuchera Americana is the version that lasts. Alan Armitage at the University of Georgia has written for years that the species form is what stays put. Containers help even more. A pot raised 4 inches off the ground avoids the worst of the soil. Freeze-thaw cycle that kills hybrid Heuchera at ground level. 18-inch mound of green bronze foliage. Some name selections of Americana, like Dale's strain, add silver veining for visual punch. Tiny cream flowers on wiry stems in June. Bees love them. The leaves hold through mild winters. Planted in afternoon shade. Use a wider pot than tall. Done. 20-year container plant if you do nothing else right. Number 7, Catmint. The variety is cat's pajamas. If you saw my fast-spreading video, you know I plant Walker's Low in the open garden. Cat's Pajamas is the container catmint, bred more recently by proven winners specifically for compact, non-flopping growth in pots. 14 inches tall, half the size of Walker's Low. Same lavender blue spike flowers, same continuous bloom from May through September, same bumblebee magnet. But the behavior in a pot is the difference. Walker's Low will get leggy and lean over the side and look ratty by July. Cat's Pajamas holds its shape, tight cushion, 5 months of bloom, no staking, shear once midsummer. That is the entire maintenance plan. The plant is so reliable that breeders are using it as the parent for the next generation of compact catmints. Number 6, Hosta Mighty Mouse, the mini Hosta. In my long-lasting video, I covered Hosta Empress Wu, which is the 4-foot giant. Mighty Mouse is the opposite. 6 inches tall, 10 inches wide, leaves the size of a quarter, blue-green in the center, edged in chartreuse, like the trim on a teacup. Looks like a bonsai version of every hosta you've ever known, designed for containers. Genetic dwarf. The pot constraint that kills regular hosta growth, Mighty Mouse needs it. Plant it in a 12-inch decorative pot, put it in afternoon shade, water it through summer. 20 years in the same pot. Slugs leave it alone, too small to bother with. Deer pass it. The grandkids reach down and touch the leaves the same way they touch lamb's ear in the open garden. Different texture, same instinct. Pair it with Heuchera Americana in a wider container for a 2-plant shade combo that holds for 2 decades. Quick one before number 5. Most American gardeners over 65 hit a wall the year their knees do. The bed gardening I did in my 40s is no longer the bed gardening I do now. The bending, the kneeling, the digging through clay, the soil amendments that take a wheelbarrow. The soil is fresh. You replace it in 5 minutes. The drainage is right. You bought it with the pot. The light is adjustable. You slide the pot 2 feet to the south in October. The pests are limited. Slugs do not climb glazed ceramic. When mainstream press runs pieces on retirement gardening trends, this is what they are talking about. Not because containers are trendy, because the back, the knees, and the wallet say so. Number 5 is the brightest yellow you will ever see in a pot. Number 5, Coreopsis Moonbeam. If you saw my lazy gardening video, you know this was my number 1 plant for the open garden. It is also my number 5 plant for containers, and that is not a contradiction. Moonbeam in a pot performs differently from Moonbeam in a bed. In a 16-inch pot, the threadleaf foliage forms a tight 1-foot mound. Pale lemon yellow daisies cover the top from late May through October. 5 months of bloom in a single container. Container behavior bonus. Root constraint actually increases flowering. Moonbeam in the open garden spreads sideways. Moonbeam in a pot puts that energy into more flowers. You get more bloom per square foot of plant. Alan Armitage has called it the cheap petunia of perennials. Bloom bombs like a petunia, lives like an oak. In a pot, that combination is unbeatable. Cut it back to half its height in mid-July for a second wave through August. Number 4, Bergenia. The common name is pig squeak. Yes, really. If you rub the leaves between 2 fingers, they squeak, like the noise a stuck pig makes. Every grandkid finds out within the first 3 minutes of meeting this plant. It is the perennial that becomes a sound. 18 inches tall, glossy paddle-shaped leaves that turn burgundy after the first fall frost and stay that way through winter. Hot pink bell-shaped flowers in early April, first perennial to bloom in most American zones. Container ideal, dappled shade, well-drained pot. Water once a week in summer. Evergreen in zones 4 through 8. 20-year plant. The squeak is the reason it sells. The 4-season foliage and earliest spring bloom are the reasons it is on this list. Number 3, Russian sage. The variety is denim and lace. If you saw my regret video, you know I called out the older Russian sage, Blue Spire, for splitting open in the middle by year 3, the donut problem. Denim and lace is the variety bred specifically to fix it. Walter's Gardens released denim and lace about a decade ago, 28 inches tall, half the height of Blue Spire, and the cane structure stays compact. No splitting, no flopping. The plant looks the same in October as it did in June. Container ideal, 2-gallon pot, full sun, drought tolerant once established. The blue haze of summer flowers attracts pollinators. The silver foliage holds shape into November. This is exactly the kind of varietal upgrade that nobody at the garden center bothers to explain. The unnamed Russian sage in plain pots is the splitter. The named compact variety in the more expensive pot is the 20-year plant. Pay the extra $5. Number 2, Echinacea Purpurea, the plain pink coneflower. The species form, not the fancy hybrids. If you saw my regret video, Mount Cuba Center in Hockessin, Delaware, ran the most rigorous American Echinacea evaluation. They followed dozens of varieties. The fancy hybrids, hot papaya, Cheyenne spirit, tomato soup, Most of them did not make it past 3 winters. The species Echinacea Purpurea and a small handful of straight cultivars were the long-lived ones. In a container, the species performs even better than in the bed. The drainage solves the wet feet problem that kills coneflower in heavy clay. The pot heat gives it the prairie root environment it evolved in. 3-foot-tall pink daisy flowers June through September. Goldfinches eat the seed heads in fall. Plant 3 in a 16-inch pot. Skip the fancy hybrids forever. This is what Mount Cuba already proved would work for the next 20 years. Listen to the trial garden, not the catalog. Before I tell you what is at number 1, I want you to think about every commercial American landscape you have walked past in the last 20 years. Hospital entrances, bank parking lots, office park medians, senior living courtyards, McDonald's drive-thrus. There is a perennial in every single one of those, the same perennial. It is on this list at number 1. It is there because nothing else is as cheap, as durable, as bloom-heavy, and as forgiving in a pot as this plant. Here it is, number 1, Daylily Stella, the most widely planted perennial in commercial American landscapes, and the single best container daylily ever bred. 12 inches tall, buttery yellow trumpet flowers, 2.5 inches across. The flower lasts 1 day, but the plant produces them continuously from late May through October. 20 straight weeks of bloom out of 1 pot. The American Hemerocallis Society awarded Stella d'Oro the Stout Silver Medal in 1985, the highest honor in daylily breeding. 41 years later, it is still the best-selling daylily in America. There is a reason: drought-proof, heat-proof, cold-hardy to zone 3. Diseases pass it, deer mostly pass it. Plant 3 crowns in a 14-inch pot in April. Water through July. Cut back the spent stalks once in November. That is the entire annual maintenance. If you have ever sat in a hospital waiting room or a McDonald's parking lot in July and seen a yellow daisy-like trumpet flower, you have seen Stella d'Oro. The reason it is in every commercial landscape is the same reason it should be in your container. It never quits. 3 pots, 20 weeks of bloom, 20 years. 10 plants, 10 pots. The Lazy Gardener's Container Yard. Sedum Autumn Joy and Dianthus Firewitch for full sun. Heuchera Americana and Hosta Mighty Mouse for shade. Catmint Cat's Pajamas. Coreopsis Moonbeam, Bergenia Pig Squeak, Russian Sage Denim and Lace. Echinacea Purpurea. And the daylily that retired with my parents in 1994, Stella d'Oro. Plant in pots. Move them to follow the light. Replace the soil in 5 minutes when it tires. Water once a week in summer. Don't trust the catalog. Trust the trial garden. Pay the extra $5 for the named compact variety. Drop a comment with the perennial currently growing in a pot on your patio and how many years it has lived there. The old container plants are the best stories. See you in the next video.